I just made that up. It's actually not a thing, but it can be a thing. But um, I was thinking about I'm on a lunch break until I go back teaching, but I was thinking about nostalgia and how nostalgia is depressing because there's like a yearning energy that happens with it. And I don't know if it's certain generations or like certain generations that deal with it more than others, or millennials specifically might deal with it, because millennials, I think, were on a cusp energy of analog and digital. We saw digital become more pixelated, more simulated than any other generation. The generation that's younger than us, I do think that they grew up in this pixelated type of digital energetic world. So it's not as yearningful. I know that's not a word, but it's not as yearning as growing up knowing that a lot of us used to go outside and vibe and play and do our thing. So I don't know if it's just, I mean, I hear a lot of people talk about nostalgia and in different ways. And nostalgia is something that it's sad because it's not necessarily in the present, right? It's not necessarily something that you get to fully experience in the very present. It's like a past memory or something that happened, and you're like, oh man, I miss those days or miss those times. And I think that's why music, okay, music makes the people come together. Yeah. I think that is why music is the ultimate time machine for right now. Like, scientists, I don't know, I gotta look this up. See, let me know if you're interested in this. But apparently, a couple people have built a time machine before. But in regards to actual time travel, I think that music is the ultimate time travel machine. W2F, right? So when it comes to that energy of, that's my favorite song, or that's my jam, or you guys didn't know nothing about this back in the day. Like, I love it when I'm teaching, and I bring on old song, and we're dancing to it, and they actually, like, the children actually know the music. Like, for example, Michael Jackson. Obviously, Michael Jackson is timeless, right? But let's say, like, I was playing, what was I playing? Won't you take me to Funky Town? Won't you take me to Funky Town? I was playing that, and some of the children knew it. Now, they could have known it because of their parents, or they could have known it because of Shrek, like in certain movies, in the media culture, they're able to pick up on different music and sounds, and then they can resonate with that music, even if it's older, even if it's not K-pop, even if it's not, that certain like pop music or whatever trending music. It's one of those things where music can test the time. It can test the tail of time. Is that the saying? There's some type of say. I don't know if people know the saying, but it can literally make someone travel there. Hey, how's it going? It can make someone travel to that time period, and there's no like, oh, this sounds too old. When you love music, it doesn't matter when it was created or when it was, you know um released or published. And that's the most magical thing about music, is that it really is a sort of time machine, and you're able to like go to that era as soon as you play the music. I have heard as well that younger generations do not like music, which I think is very depressing. I don't know. I feel like just the other day I was thinking about how, the lockdown, the pandemic changed a lot of things for people. And I started thinking about the younger generation and how the generation who's like 15, who was 15, and then for 5 years, they just became 20. And in those periods, it's like, how were they able to evolve themselves, or were they able to evolve themselves, or were they just learning about isolation right then and there? And when they're older, will they have that experience of nostalgia, or will it just be depressing every time they flash back to when they were a certain age and they had to experience the lockdown? So nostalgia, although can be depressing and a little bit, again, that yearning feeling, there is a refresher with it as well. If you're able to experience it, it's like that beautiful moment that could never really be exact ever again, but at least you have the memory of it. And I kind of empathize for people that, again, are younger generation, and they might not really have that experience within the last decade, because this decade has been pretty intense so far for a lot of people. And that's not for everybody. Some people might have the experience of nostalgia and having a good time during the lockdown. Maybe family members became close again and people actually started having time for one another. I know some people, it wasn't like that, breakups or kicking people out during lockdown and stuff. So obviously it all depends. But that nostalgia energy is so surreal, in a sense of, it it could truly bring you into whatever timeline you want. And I think that's one way of time traveling. There's several ways of time traveling. One way, that's the easiest way, that's the magicalist. I know that's not a word, but that's super magical, is listening to music you've never heard before. I might actually do a segment on here where I listen to music I have never heard before. If you know that there's a song that's like not mainstream and you want to you want to recommend, put it in the comments, because I love listening to new music. I love learning new things in general. But yeah, it's just one of those things that it's a paradox, that nostalgia. The nostalgia is a super duper paradox that I would rather nostalgia than like being depressed AF, because during the lockdown I'm like growing up and all of a sudden the world's changing. And but for those people, for that generation, your life isn't over, because I know I've looked into some video essays and people talking about the fact that Gen Zs are um, either depressed or worried at like the age of 23. What are they going to do in life? And it's like, it's probably because they're a little bit traumatized based on the fact that they had to deal with a lockdown and not being able to like finish school properly, or being locked down during school, or having to do school online. It's one of those things where you grew up in that digital world, so the lockdown was kind of to, I guess, prepare you to know that that's where it's going. At the end of the day, even though things are getting digital, remember outside. Remember that that nature can be nostalgic for all you know. Remember that like, I think music in general, I don't really care to like judge what type of music people want to listen to, but and I emphasize that but, even though you know there's no real judgment, but music and the frequency of music, like what really resonates with you, it doesn't have to be what everyone's listening to, or it can be what everyone's listening to. It all depends, right? But just take in older music if you want to ever experience something new, which is ironic because it's an older type of sound or older music. But again, majority of everything is actually timeless. There's that saying, nothing's new under the sun. Even though nothing's new under the sun, there's still that element of evolution, there's still that element of innovation. And I think that's what's so amazing about moving forward, that yeah, we all went through that lockdown and people saying there's a next one coming, and the focus should be about time travel, because you're able to travel into any time you want at this point in time. Like, just take that in. And you can do that through style. You can do that through decoration, like how you decorate your environment where you live. You can do that through music. You can do that through talking to another generation. You're on this outside on the town. Talk to someone that's an elder. Ask them, like, what the heck was life like for you? There's so many different ways to time travel. Meditation, of course, is another one. um of course, reading, if you're like a reader and you love stories, and there's a lot of ways to time travel. We might not have the machine, the actual machine where you press the button, bleep, bloop, bleep, bloop, I don't know, that's the sound that I make. But let's say this is the time machine. We might not actually have the legit time machine that brings us physically to 1999. However, mentally, you have your mind, right? And you can go there through the things that I just listed. But anyway, yeah, that was just my little spiel about nostalgia and how it is yearningful, and how it's very much so a little sad, but then it's also like refreshing because you have that memory. And for anyone who might not have the feeling of nostalgia, don't worry about it. Make up your own memories now, and realize that the lockdown could have been something that helped you know how to find solitude. If it didn't, or if it was too much of an isolation or whatever, like shift yourself mentally into the now before you time travel. That's another thing. You want to be able to be in the present moment before you time travel to the future or to the past. The people that get it, get it. The people that don't, you'll get it. But either way, this is a quick nice what segment. I'll see you in the next one, where I would love to talk about the Matrix and the fact that it is not the Matrix fault. Actually, the construct of the systems within the Matrix have a bit of responsibility for that. Regardless, we'll talk later. Peace. See you in the next one.